Hello, another week, another vlog. So today is the week commencing Tuesday, the 6th of April, as yesterday was bank holiday, Easter weekend. I did say last week I wasn't going to bother doing one this week, but I'm going to do one anyway. A short one, so quite an interesting day today, first day of the week. But as I said last week, I'm not working Friday because the van's in the garage to get this NOx sensor fitted. Faulty NOx sensor, nitrogen oxide sensor, which is part of the AdBlue system. Anti-pollution system, as it says on my dash when it flashes at the light every now and then. Anyway, so fuel prices this week. The UK Fuels Shell card, 102.28, and my BWOC or BOC, which is the one that uses the Key Fuels network, that's 100.39, so I think it's a touch higher than last week. Yeah, so the BOC one is 0.38 cheap, more expensive than last week, so it's not going to much. Yeah, so just about 120, or just over £1.20 including the VAT. So I'll be using the BWOC BOC card this week. I was interested to know your fuel prices, particularly if they're cheaper. I do think I need to get another card to give the BWOC card some competition, because the Shell card for UK Fuels is, yeah, it's a bit hopeless really. In terms of price, it's hopeless, but it's good in terms of it's really easy to use because I can just use any Shell, any Texaco, any Esso, whereas with the other one I have to check whether they're on the right network and stuff. But it's cheaper. Anyway, yeah, so as I mentioned in last week's vlog, I got a job on a Sunday afternoon, early evening, so it wasn't a Sunday, it was on a Monday for the Tuesday this morning. So I picked that up at 6 o'clock. I was up at 5, early start. It's got me going, first day of the week, stopped me being lazy, especially with being a short week. It was a good thing. It was a shipper and a pickup that I've done before, probably like the 5th or 6th time I've been there. I did one a few weeks ago. I mentioned I went to the B&Q Regional or National Distribution Centre down in Swindon, and again it was like a really long pallet that day and they really struggled to get it out. Same thing today, they've got long fork extensions. It said 3 meters, but I think it's more like 3.5 meters long by 1.2, say, as it fitted between the wheel arches. Not a massive amount of weight, but it said 50 kilograms max in the thing, but I knew that wasn't going to be the case because the pallet's going to weigh more than that. Yeah, it's probably like 200 kilograms. Picked it up. Interesting on this one because the address looked like a residential address, and I thought, well, what's going on here? Definitely handballing it off because I won't have forks. Got down there, it's down to Bromley BR1. Turns out it was a building site. They just started doing the groundworks there and like the piling and stuff. But you know, it's building sites, they always have to sort of secure them with wooden fencing normally, and normally they paint it one colour, or sometimes you see it where they've got like glossy signs on the side as part of promotion for the development, and that's what these were. Like some quite tall panels to go on there with the name of the development and stuff, you know, it's all part of the sales pitch. So it's quite interesting. I did have to handball a pallet off, or handball the goods off the pallet. It's pretty easy to do really. It took a while, but it wasn't too heavy. Maybe 15 minutes to do, and then take the pallet off the back of the van and leave that there because he left me to it, so I just left the pallet there and he didn't think if we say, oh, can you take the pallet with you, all that jazz. So yeah, just left that all with him. So that left me in Bromley BR1, quite a plush area. It's a private road, you know, big houses on it. It's been an expensive development. Parked up round the corner, my usual off-site and out-of-site, or another way to think of it is Tippett and Scarpa. So I was around the corner. I think I got a job maybe an hour later. I'd bids on about 3 jobs, very few pinging up. It's a good thing starting really early is I tipped that job about 10, so it still feeds really busy. Well, by current standards, it's busier in the morning always, but especially at the moment. Excuse me. Yeah, so got this job. I had bids on 3 jobs. I was quite surprised to get the one I did because it was East London E17. I'm sure there was a band once called East17. Don't know if it's anything to do with London, probably. The postcode, but it was I was like 45 minutes from it, 50 minutes maybe, because it was 17 miles the other side of the Thames. It's going to Liverpool, L3, but it's a short wheelbase job, so I priced it at 75 pence a mile, including getting there, which was 17 miles. So loaded pence per mile worked out 80 pence a mile, which is slightly dear for short wheelbase. I put in the notes as long wheelbase. Yeah, and she rang and gave me it. I was just a bit shocked to get this one, to be honest. So, and then cracked on with that. Pickup was a bit of a pain. Found a shop where it was on like a busy street in London, and then it says it's actually at our warehouse sort of / showroom, which is just up the road. It was just up the road, but it was a bit of a pain. An industrial unit got there, picked it up, and what it was a neon sign saying diner. So it's obviously quite delicate, so I had to put it on some removal blankets and that kind of thing, make sure it didn't touch the light bit. The guy said it's very, very, very fragile, really treat it with care. I wouldn't want to break that because it'd be quite expensive, I'm sure. And then the address for up here in Liverpool, or Liverpool as they say.
CD player, you teeming bastards! People like you who give us Scots a bad name. Oh yeah!
Can't beat a bit of Harry Enfield. Quality 90s comedy. Anyway, yeah, the address for up here was a bit of a strange one. It was Ipcris file. That immediately rang a bell. I thought that's a strange name for a company, but I've heard that before. And it had a unit number and a street and a postcode, so I banged the postcode into Google Maps. Wasn't recognised, so all I did, because I wanted to get out of London and get going, put the street name and Liverpool into Google Maps. It came up. It looked like a place with units, like industrial commercial area, and just cracked on up here. I actually rang the lady on the way here on hands-free. Said the postcode doesn't seem to be right, and she says, yeah, if you just go to that street and it's unit such and such. I was like, okay. And by that time it was a bit of a night, one of them journeys on the way up here, loads of traffic, queued on the M1 and the M6 for quite a while because of breakdowns in these smart motorway roadworks. It's a bit of a pain. Probably lost like an hour and a quarter, maybe an hour and a half on the way up. So got here 20 to 6 and got tipped. She said, yeah, there should be someone there till 6 anyway. So, and thankfully when I got here, it was quite interesting because the unit number I went to, it looked all closed up and it still got the to let sign on it. But I noticed the light was on, so there was no one answering the door. So I walked in through the little side door, and there was a sign on the inner door, just written in marker pen, Ipcris file. So I thought, yeah, that's the right place. Went in, guy grabbed it and stuff. Yeah, and as I thought about it on my way up, Ipcris file is a film. They're remaking the Ipcris file. So I think it had Michael Caine in the original one. So they must be filming it around here somewhere in Liverpool. Yeah, so that's quite interesting. So it says should be coming out sort of after the summer, he said. What does that mean? It could be next year, couldn't it? After the summer. They're still making it now. Yeah, so I'm actually really close to the docks. So I've gone for a very brief walk just to check out some of the docks. It's absolutely freezing today. Yes, last week was like pretty much shorts and t-shirts weather a few days. Now it's down to 0. It's like 1 degree showing on the van. It's hail and snow showers on the way up. Be cold on the van tonight. Gonna put the heating on. Yeah, good day today. Takings wise, 160 for the first job, which was 161 miles loaded, and I had 4 miles to get there, so near enough £1 a mile, but it was long wheelbase because it was long, not particularly heavy. And then the one back up here was 75 pence a mile straight through, short wheelbase job. So I've averaged about 86 pence a mile today on a lot of miles. So it's all the threes today, £333 for the day. Just shy of 12 hours, well, pretty much bang on 12 hours from when I left the house to drop the last job. Could have been quicker. Like I say, I lost a bit of time on the way up here to Liverpool. Yeah, but a good start for a short week. So yeah, short week, it's good to have a good day. Hopefully keep it going for the next 2 days. Right, here it is. The title is about, this is what I'm going to name the week after today's shower of shit, if you excuse my language, but I do, as I said before, I do always mark these not for children. Yeah, so last night I was in Liverpool L3, realised kind of thing, for getting jobs in the morning I was too far towards the centre of Liverpool, so I drove about 4 or 5 miles to sort of where the M62 ends, on like the east side of Liverpool. I went to a chippy. Actually had omelette and chips. It's quite nice. It's one of these chippies that's also a Chinese, so omelette and chips, pretty good, really good actually, nice change. And I sat there after that just messing around, really, keep myself entertained. Sounds a bit funny, but yeah, and the job pinged up for the morning. It pinged up before and it didn't sell, and then it pinged up again, so I looked at it more detail. It was multi-drop work out of Warrington, which was another, like, I think it was 13 miles heading east for the morning, but it was picking up at 6:30. And I thought, okay, that's quite good, because a lot of multi-drops you do on the CX, they tend to be late starts because you're picking up the dregs and what's left over, and you can't go in early because all their vans that are normally there have got the place full. So I thought, like, 6:30 start. I read the details. It said 15 drops, business to business, pays £170. If mileage is over 170 miles, then it's an extra £1 per mile driven, which I thought was quite interesting because you don't often see that. But multi-drop for me definitely isn't done on a pounds rate, it's done on a time rate. And he said it should be done by 2 o'clock at the latest. So I thought, okay, I'm experienced at multi-drop. No way I'm going to do 170 miles surely in 15 drops. They'd have to send you a massive area to do that. So I thought, and it's because it's starting 6:30, it's an early start again. Done by 2, chance to get something afterwards for 170. Yeah, I'll go for that. So I went in at 170. The guy rang me up shortly afterwards. Had a bit of a chat about it, and he says, yeah, it's like an electrical wholesalers, and it's collecting from them and taking it to some of their smaller branches, and also, you know, other electrical shops and stuff, retailers and stuff that they supply. And I thought, oh, okay, that sounds quite sweet, because you're going to be, you know, dropping off to trade counters and stuff, easy to get in and out of, tend to be, you know, retail parks or commerce parks kind of thing. Okay, great. So I drove over there last night and parked, where I'm parked now actually, outside an M&S, just down the road from it. Yeah, kipped here last night, no restricted parking, had the heater on, actually quite a good night's sleep. It was at 10:30, up at 5:30, got myself a coffee in a McDonald's. So I was there at 6:30. Had a bit of a chat with one of the guys there. He says, yeah, this is your lot, your bundle, your load here. So he brought it over to the van, brought me the paperwork, and the first thing was I looked at the paperwork and I thought there's a lot of drops there, but there was like 27 different orders, but some of them orders were for the same drop, and I could see that by the postcode and the name of this like manifest sheet. I thought, okay, it's not going to be that many, but it was actually 20 drops. So this is where it started going wrong, really. But I thought, okay, it's 20 drops instead of 15, but maybe they're, close together. See how it goes, and if it's, taking any longer, then, I'll just have to contact them and say, there's more work here, and you can't do it for the 170, you need more money. So loaded a van, some quite long lengths, like, trunking and stuff like that. And all the rest of it was just small boxes, some of which are heavy. I think they had some batteries in. Yeah, so cracked on. But then because I just had this manifest sheet showing the name of the company and the postcode, when I actually started doing it and looked at in detail at the delivery notes for each one, they gave me like a folder. Like, it wasn't depots, it wasn't trade counters for their branches or other electrical wholesalers. It was actual. Turns out I had 5 hospital deliveries, 2 to Manchester Airport. Airports and hospitals, 2 of the worst things you can deliver to. I had a few residential addresses, but I think it was like engineers for like Network Rail. It was to their home address and stuff. One was, and the rest were delivering to contractors, on building sites. So, you rock up to some massive development in the middle of Manchester, some of it. I had some M postcodes, some SK, which is Stockport, South Manchester, and some OL postcodes. Well, one OL postcode, which was a hospital. So I only had one OL, and it was a postcode, a hospital. A bit suspect of. And I kind of went to the base of the Pennines as far that way. I forget what it was called now. Could have been Glossop. Delivered to a Wixer. That was one of the only 2. I think I did one Wixer delivered to, and one other like electrical office. I think it was more the offices for an electrical contractor rather than a trade counter. All the others are right pain in the arse. I have to ring up at least half of them. They all had contact numbers. Most of them answered. So one of these days where it's really hard going. They weren't close together either. I think the lowest was like 5-minute drive. Had a few close to a half an hour drive between. I'd say the average was 15 to 20 minutes between drops. And obviously you're faffing around, getting on site, hospitals and stuff, trying to find where you're supposed to be. Very vague address. So yeah, cracked on. It got to about 2 o'clock, and I had done 15 at like 10 to 2. So I rang the guy up, and I said to him, it's actually more than 15 drops here, it's 20 drops. I've done 15 now, but I've run out of time. It's supposed to be up until 2 o'clock kind of thing, and I've still got to drive back to a depot. Yeah, and this is where it goes, oh well, if it's any more miles, let me know, and it's an extra £1 a mile. And I says, well, it's not the miles, it's the time, because multi-drop's more about time than miles. I said, so what are you on about? What do you want? I says, well, I think I got at least another 2 hours extra past 2 o'clock. So I was going to say an extra 50 quid, because it's an extra 5 drops, and it was 170 for 15 drops. And it's going to be at least an extra 2 hours, so I was going to go in at 50 quid extra. But yeah, he saw his ass, and he was like, well, I said, well, I'm not going to do it for nothing, you know what I mean? Do you want me to do them, or do I just I've done the 15, or do I just, at this point, he started to get a bit irate, and I was winding me up. Said to him, well, I've done my 15 kind of thing, and I've not, literally didn't take any breaks today, didn't even stop for lunch, just on the go all day. Says, well, what do you want? I said, I just thought, well, I'll forget 30 quid to get it up to 200 quid, 30 quid. Yeah, and he wasn't happy. He was like, well, just get it done. And then if there's any, he said it again, if there's any extra miles, I'll pay for them. I was just, well, I'm not just going to get it done, and because it's not going to go over 170 miles, but this is more than a job that's advertised. And then he said I was taking a piss. What else did he say? I don't know. But anyway, he says, "You're going to walk off the job then?" I says, "No, but I want paying for the job that's doing," kind of thing. I've done what was agreed, kind of thing. And he's like, he pulled the line of, well, other people seem to manage it and all this stuff, but given that the amount of hospitals, the airports, and the construction sites, it isn't what I was told, and just the sheer amount of hospital drops, I do wonder if they just thought, "Oh, contractors coming in, not one of the normal guys, give them all a shite," basically. That is in my mind as well. So in the end, he agreed to pay the 30 quid. I says, "Well, will you update the CX then?" He said he would, and then I cracked on and got it done. In the end, I did the last drop at like 20 to 4, or quarter to 4. Back at the depot about 5:30. It was about 6 o'clock really by the time I was done, like unloaded and given the paperwork and stuff like that. So started at 5:30, finished at 6, 10 and a... No, finished at 5, sorry, yeah. Finished at 5. Bang on the nose, yeah. So it was 10.5 hour day. So I started at 6:30, go mad here, finished at 5. So I think that's a 10.5 hour day. So it was 200 quid for a 10.5 hour day, which is crap really. And he said to me, "Oh no, it's day rate, you just got to crack on and get it done, and 170 quid's a day rate." But for me, what does day rate mean? There was a time frame on this job. Should be done by 2 at the latest. They give me extra work. It wasn't the drops like it said it was. It was way more time consuming. So yeah, what is a day rate for? That's, you got to watch a day rate, because is a day rate 8 hours working? Is it 10 hours? Is it 12 hours? Is it more? It's a massive grey area. So in the end, I did the last drop. It was the only drop. He refused it because the electrical contractors weren't there and the general contractors wouldn't accept it. So it was the only one I took back. Took all the paperwork back. They were happy with that at the depot. Yeah, but I was just a bit pissed off really. It's the first time I've had, he was getting irate and I was getting a bit irate back with him. You can probably tell it's getting me wound up just talking about it now. And just, people kind of taking advantage or trying to take advantage and just telling you lies basically. And then kind of implying you must just be taking it easy and for, not working very hard and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, it really annoyed me. But anyway, in the end, he did put the 30 quid extra on. I checked before I did all the invoicing and uploading the pod and stuff. So the invoice has gone in. I'll send it off at the weekend or Friday. And then obviously wait and see if I get paid. And then the issue is with stuff like this, where you have a dispute, you could end up with negative feedback. But as far as I'm concerned, I've done a solid 10.5 hours without stopping even to have anything like a sandwich. I didn't have a sandwich, didn't even stop to get one. Just ate a few packets of crisps and snack bars on the way. 10.5 hours working like a dog really, and getting just getting a load of shit really. So not happy about that. But anyway, that was that. So I'd be interested to know what you think of that tale. I've given you most of the main parts. Do you think I was quite within my rights, or do you think I should have just cracked on for the 170 and take it on the chin? Or interested to know your honest thoughts on that one. Constructive, of course. Yeah, but anyway, that was that, and it kind of got me thinking about, this is the second part of the tale, multi-drop jobs on the CX. The problem with them, first problem is you don't really know what you're letting yourself in for. Somebody did say in the comments a while back when I did a multi-drop, if it says 60 drops, assume it's 90 and all this kind of thing, and that is true. I think you find with most of them, at best they're okay, these jobs. They generally turn out to be a right pain in the ass. I'm not worth it. I wouldn't be doing them if it was busier, but it's just a way of bidding for work and getting work that others wouldn't be so interested in. So the first problem is, you don't know what you're letting yourself in for. The shippers generally, sugarcoat it and a bit bend of truth or blatantly lie sometimes about the job. So that's the first issue of jobs on the CX. Multi-drop jobs. The second issue, I think, is a lot of the shippers on the CX are, more focused towards light haulage, so it's all mileage based. But multi-drop is more based on time. I don't think, unless you've done multi-drop and loads of different types of multi-drop. So I've done Yodel, done lots of Amazon, done a fair bit of UPS. I've done 3 days out of DX and 1 day out of DHL. You kind of get to know like the different types. So like Yodel, I could do 20 drops in an hour without even knowing an area really. But once you get to know it, you can do slightly more than that. Amazon, on their normal standard delivery, you can do more, 25 plus an hour, close to 30 sometimes. This is once you get to the area, so you just go and drop to drop to drop, not actually getting there and get back to the depot. But things like this, I wasn't even doing 3 an hour, with all the faffing about and the long drives. But shippers don't understand that. They just see, right, 15, 20 drops, that's not going to take long at all. No idea the difference between delivering to a residential address or delivering to businesses, or trying to find contractors on building sites and hospitals and all that malarkey. Hospitals is another really bad one. So that's the 2 issues really, and you quite often see them advertised for really poor rates anyway. As a shipper that I did do multi-drop for, delivered the food deliveries, that was crap money really, but there's nothing around at the time. And I've seen them advertise a few jobs on their like WhatsApp group, like half a day long wheelbase multi-drop pays £60 and stuff like this. And I think max of 40 miles, and I think that's a good rate. £1.50 a mile, it's a good mileage rate, but it's an absolutely shocking hours rate, considering that could be 9 until 1 or whatever, 4 hours for 60 quid or whatever. It's just, and they always take longer than they think. So long and short of it is, I've kind of said to myself, now we're coming out of the next phase of lockdown on Monday the 12th, but I'm just going to knock multi-drop off the CX on the head now. Just not worth the aggro. I'm just going to stick to the light haulage. So if I do any more multi-drop jobs, and by multi-drop I mean proper multi-drop, not just like 2 or 3 deliveries, but like this was multi-drop. I think anything over 10 is like multi-drop maybe. Like by definition 2's a multi-drop, but multi-drop's more, got to be at least 10. If I ever do any more, please feel free to slag me off in the comments if I do any more CX multi-drop jobs. Right, early Thursday evening now, and I'm at home, which obviously I need to be because van's in the garage, as I've said. Tomorrow, they went a bit like this. After doing that tip in that electrical wholesalers, or returning the one delivery I couldn't deliver yesterday, went and got some chips at the other side of the M62. So where I was, it was just off the M62, not far from the M6 really. There's a lot of like big distribution centres going up there, and and then after that I went back to where I parked the previous night in the M&S car park, because there was a BP there and it was on key fuel, so I fueled up there. And just looked at crap on my phone in the evening. Kept down there for the night. Didn't get up quite so early this morning because no job booked in last night, and managed to get a job just before 9, about 8:45. It was long wheelbase job from up by Preston, PR6. It said it was chairs, it said in the description, and must have straps. So I bid on it. It was down to Peterborough, PE1. I quoted it at I think I went at 157, which worked out somewhere around 85 pence a mile, including getting there. I had a bit of a drive to get there. It was like 40-minute drive, 40-minute drive. It was 174 miles loaded. But this is one of them jobs when I could see the map the way it's worked out, that was going across the M62 and then down the M1, I think it is. I thought if I get it, I can probably do a quicker route than that. So he rang me up. He asked me if I'd do it for 145, which is just like 12 quid off what I'd bid. So I said, I tell you what, I can do it for 150. I thought, I'll do it for that, but no less kind of thing, and otherwise I'll just leave it. And he goes, yeah, okay, go on then. As it worked out, yeah, it went a different way on the way down there. Pickup was really easy. And it did bang on about straps. So when he rang me, so I'd made sure when I got there, get all the straps out, get them there, and used one of them. Just needed one of them to kind of stop them sliding back. Isn't a customer being paranoid or something? So if I would do it, if it mentions straps, obviously strap a load if you need to, but sometimes if they've asked about straps and you don't think they're really necessary, you just do it anyway because the customer might, might have requested it or whatever. So yeah, I got that done. And I went a different way. I went down the M6 sort of towards Stoke and then across the A500 and some nice A and B roads to get to Peterborough. It was through Melton Mowbray kind of country. Yeah, and tipped these seats in a big car sales place, not a dealership, not new cars, but one of these big supermarket places. Reopening on Monday because they're allowed to properly. They've said they've just had a big refit in terms of putting the finishing touches to that, so why they needed some new chairs. Yeah, so got that tipped, and as I was pulling into the place, the phone rang, and it was a shipper asking if I'd be available. They could see I was just about to tip, and this is the wrong company from the northwest that keep phoning me quite a lot, like probably once a week, sometimes twice a week. They know where I am, and they seem to know I'm going to tip and stuff like that, and they're really proactive. And I think they actually they rarely put jobs on the CX anymore. They just work a different way. They seem to be looking who's available and contacting people they want to do the job, being a lot more selective. I had done work for them before, just picking it up off a CX. This one's quite interesting because they use the same system. If you watch Peter Curry Driver's video when he did he went to visit a shipper and asked the shipper questions. I can't remember what the company's called now, but they're down sort of like Luton-ish way down by him. KBC or something. I think it's KBC. It's something like that. 3 letters. They had their own system they were talking about, which is like an invoicing thing called Smart Logistics Planner. And this company use that system, and I don't think it's just like invoicing and all that stuff, the financial side of it. The guy mentioned it kind of like takes a lot of data from the CX. They've like gone into partnership with this software that it can connect to the CX and pull information across about drivers and driver availability and maps and stuff. And this courier in the northwest, they're also using the same system. I think they're in partnership with this other place down by Luton or whatever that Pete went to, or maybe they just pay to use it. I don't know. Yeah, so that's quite interesting. I think that's why they keep ringing me. But it can be a two-way thing because quite often you don't know if the job's going to, if you're going to want to do it. At least you just look at the feed, you just scroll through and jobs ping up and you go yes, no, yes, no. If it's a yes, you go. If it's a no, you just swipe left. Show something else like that. Yeah, and then but as this one worked out, it was where I was, P1, literally just around the corner, like a builder's wholesale building supply place. Going to Corby, or near Corby, the home of the trouser press. So yeah, just tipped that one. The seats didn't take any time at all. Did all my, CX admin uploading the pod and stuff. So I always get one job finished before I go on to the next. As I just forget, I'm in like a routine, a process. Got around there, picked up really quite quickly, but it was like 250 lengths of like kind of like angle iron, but really thin stuff, galvanized, sort of to do with electrical things, electrical installation. No, it's more to do with insulation. Sorry, and then I've dropped at a small unit, which was a fire prevention place company, or fire something. Got there, he wasn't there. Had to leave the guy a message, had a contact number, and then random shipper, waiting for them to get back to me, and then this guy turned up at the unit, so obviously got my message. So I had to handball that off, and then I handballed it off next to the premises, and then the guy grabbed it and put it on his rack inside. So yeah, probably did take a bit more than half an hour there, but I was only at the pickup like 15-20 minutes, so yeah, can't complain too much. That paid, I went in at 50, it was 30 miles loaded, but he says can I do it for 45 and a 40 hours, taking me closer to home, 30 miles closer to home. Do it for 45, 150 a mile, and it's taking me 30 miles closer to home, and I've got to get home tonight. And then I sat around there. Things a bit slow around that part of the world. Peterborough and Corbury, well, it was obviously further away, 30 miles west of Peterborough. Corbury, that area, well, not a great deal coming up. Sat there till 5. Bid on a few, didn't get them. Pretty tired now, actually, and then I just trundled home. But with the money I got on that job, and the rate on the first job being better, because I took a shorter route, it still worked out all miles today, about 75 pence a mile. Yesterday was really good, pence per mile, even though it was a shit day, but not to go into that too much. I only did 108 miles, and it should be 200 quid for that. So yeah, I'll do my figures over the weekend and a summary, but I'm thinking the pence per mile this week should be pretty good again. Right, late Sunday afternoon now, so time for the summary. So the van went in on Friday to have this NOx or nitrogen oxide sensor replaced, so that's all been done. But I won't really know until if it's fixed the problem, probably for a couple of weeks, assuming I get through the next few weeks without having, because it was an intermittent fault, get the warning light on the dash and then it'd go away. So I think if it hasn't come up for 2 weeks, I could be pretty sure that sorted it. So fingers crossed on that one. Yeah, so where to start? So yeah, it was only a 3-day week this week, because obviously it was bank holiday on a Monday. Friday it was in the garage, so it's gone quite well, to be honest, for a 3-day week. Just to go through my figures briefly. So as ever, these are just what I quoted on the CX. So yeah, I was out 3 days, was in the van 2 nights, didn't get home, didn't use any accommodation, no hotels or anything. These are just what I quoted, so that would have gone on top. I would get to keep some of that because I'm on the flat rates VAT scheme. Obviously then costs need to come out of that, my fixed costs and my variable costs per mile costs. But anyway, yeah, so Tuesday was the first day of the week. It was 160 and 173, so that was quite a lot of miles that day, down south and then back up to Liverpool. So that's 333 quid, which is the best day of the week, and also the best day I've had in a long time. Got 2 long jobs in, and one of them was only a short wheelbase job. Wednesday should be 200, obviously quoted 170, that was the whole multi-drop job. Yeah, don't have to say too much about that and dwell on it. Thursday was 2 jobs, 150 and 45. This is a short job for 195. Yeah, so total for the 3 days was 728. So the average per day was £242.67 a day, which is the best I've had in this van, best I've had in any van actually. So it was a good 3 days, like I say. Mileage was only 777 miles, helped by that one sort of small job to finish the week, the short week, and also the fact that I did multi-drop. So it was like 200 it should be for 108 miles. That's the beauty of the smaller jobs and the multi-drop, but like I said, I'm not doing multi-drop anymore, compared to the longer light haulage jobs. It does boost your pence per mile up, so yeah, 93.7 pence a mile is pretty good really. I'm aiming for 85 minimum. Again, I'll state this is all miles, that's from when I left here on the Tuesday morning to getting back on the Thursday afternoon, early evening, whatever it was. Yes, that's pretty good. That's the most I've made per day, I think, over a week ever. But obviously I'm in a bigger van now than I was last year. Gone up from the Traffic long wheelbase, a long wheelbase version of a Traffic, which is kind of like a short wheelbase plus van. It's not really medium wheelbase because it doesn't have the height or the payload capacity, but it does really pretty much 3 meter length, so you can get 2 UKs in. Yeah, and I think the reason I did so well last week was, I think I said in last week's vlog, it was really busy that week, particularly the last 2 days of the week. So it was a Wednesday, Thursday, because it was Easter Friday, bank holiday. It was really busy across them 2 days. I wasn't sure whether it'd continue into this week. I thought it might have been just because of the end of financial year. Shippers wanting to get stuff shipped so they can invoice it and get it, claim it on as part of last year's figures. And all these companies, I know they all have, a lot of the bigger companies especially have, sales targets for the years and quarters and stuff. But it actually stayed pretty busy, I think, all week. I only did my market research search once, which was the 9th, which was the Friday when I didn't work because I was at home. Well, I always do it in the evening anyway, so I get like 7, 8, 9 o'clock. And so as you can see, the last line on there, if you pause it, yeah, it's pretty much stayed consistent with what it was, maybe slightly lower than last week, but only very slightly. So it has got a lot busier in the step change really the last couple of weeks over what it was so far this year. But again, I'll say this is not busy. This is busy compared to what it was, and it was absolutely dead because of lockdown and January, February, post Christmas, kipper season, as Pete, the courier driver, calls it. So yeah, that's the week so far really. Not the week so far, that's the week done. Next week I'm going to do my first 5-day week, because the last 3 weeks, because of bank holidays and with it being in the garage, I've done 2 4-day weeks and a 3-day week. So next week is a full 5 days on the run. Quite looking forward to it actually. Now it's looking to pick up a bit. Be interesting to see if I can sort of make this money, keep it going over a longer week. As ever, any comments? So particularly, I always want to know people's fuel price. With regard to fuel price, UK Fuel Company rang me yesterday, Friday, when I was doing some admin anyway. So it was the perfect time to call me. They normally call me when I'm on the run, and generally I haven't got much time to talk to them. Yeah, the usual thing, I said I'm not really going to use the Shell card I've got through them because it's just too expensive. But as I say, it is easier to use, more pumps, more network coverage. So what I've agreed to do with them is they're going to change my Shell card to one of their own UK Fuels network cards, just their own card on their own network, which they tell me is 99% of the petrol stations and stuff are the same as the Key Fuels network. So, and it will just be the case, whichever one's cheapest I use, and it'll give my Key Fuels, well, it's a block card, BWOC, which uses a Key Fuels network. It'll give that a bit of competition going forward. But then strangely, because I told them it's too expensive, it's come down next week, my Shell card, because it's going to take a week or so to change, and it's like pretty much on par with the block card. So again, I told them, I'm not going to be ringing every week when your price just keeps drifting up. I'll just use the one that's consistently gives me a reasonable price, Who's got the time to ring? But I don't know, we'll see how we go with that one. Yeah, interesting to know what you think about that nightmare day I had. Do a multi-drop. Do you think I was reasonable asking for extra money? I still think I was, because it said 15 drops and it was 20, and the drops he told me, which is delivering to sub depot, or like from the main distribution place to their trade counters, it wasn't that at all. Even though it wasn't, the drops were a lot more difficult. Hospitals and contractors on building sites, I still managed to get as many drops as he said, by the time, he said it should take 2. So then I had another 5 to do, and then gets back to a depot, and they turned out to be a nightmare in like Manchester way in like inner Manchester and student area with all the big high-rise buildings and building sites. I still think, that extra 30 quid, it was extra 2.5 hours on the job. So yeah, I reckon I should have charged him more than that 30 quid. But yeah, just hope I get paid for it. And there's no hassle when it comes to paying the invoice, and obviously negative feedback. I think I should be getting positive feedback throughout the graft I did that day, and the price they got it, even at 200 quid. But yeah, I'm interested to know your thoughts. Yeah, so that's it for the week. Thanks for watching.